Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Explore the Spectrum. Today we're joined with Martha Gabler. Martha, I'm so glad that you're here with us. How are you doing today?
Great, thank you. Looking forward to this.
Well, I'm excited for everybody to learn a little bit, myself included. So tell us a little bit about TAGteach. What is that and how is it implemented in the classroom?
Okay, well, TAGteach stands for Teaching with Acoustical Guidance. And acoustical guidance is a sound. And in this case, the sound that we use in the TAGteach community is made by this little device, which we call a tagger. I'll show you. That's the sound. And the purpose of the sound is to tell a learner that he or she has been correct, that learner has done something correctly. And I personally have had no experience of TAGteach in the classroom. I'm the mother of a 27-year-old son with severe autism who's nonverbal. So my goal in TAGteach when he was little was to improve his behaviors because we had extremely chaotic behaviors, the behaviors that parents with severe children are very well aware of. The house was always chaotic, and I was desperate to find a way to deal with that. And through a series of unforeseen events, I stumbled upon this whole community of using acoustical guidance to teach learners, and it's very effective. So I'll wait for your next question because I could go on continuously at this point.
No, I think that that's great. I wasn't certain if it was something that was done almost as an individualized therapy, like what you would experience in an ABA clinic, or if it was done in a classroom. So I appreciate the clarification. In your case, you've seen great success with your son. He had more severe symptoms from what you just said, and you were able to help guide him into keeping your house a little less chaotic. Tell us some of the greatest success stories that you've seen using this type of device.
Okay, well, first of all, you did mention ABA, and I would like to expand upon that because what this little device that enables you to do is to implement the core feature of applied behavior analysis. If you go back to Dr. B.F. Skinner and his book, Behavior of Organisms from the 1936, I believe it was published, he talks about capturing and shaping behavior. So with this little device, you capture a behavior in the moment that it is occurring and you reinforce it. And the important feature of reinforcement is that it's supposed to cause the behavior that you've reinforced to happen more often. But the timing issue is that if you reinforce while the learner is performing the behavior or within 1 second, your reinforcement is extremely effective. If there's even a 2 or 3 second delay or even more than that, the effectiveness and impact of your reinforcement is reduced. So this is a very important feature to keep in mind because when we take the time and trouble to observe a learner and reinforce a behavior, I think we all want to be as efficient and powerful with that as we can be, because otherwise it's going to take longer and it's not going to be as precise, and the learning that this case the child does is going to be kind of ragged and sloppy. So my example is when I first had one of these in my hand and I had read enough to know what was going on, I knew that I had to capture, that is literally catch a behavior while my son was in the split second that he was doing it. And then you capture it by tagging at the exact moment your son is doing or your child is doing it. And then you immediately provide a reinforcer as soon as you can. And in my case, that was easy to do because my son likes edibles, so that was easy. So the example that I use to tell people is my son, like many of those young children at that age, a lot of tantruming, a lot of screaming, running around, and it goes on all day. It doesn't stop, it's continuous. And it's very wearing on the family because you don't have a moment's peace. So I first had this in my hand, and my son exploded into a tantrum. And I thought, okay, he's got a lot of tantruming behaviors going on, but I also knew that with this device, I could capture a split second of a behavior. Now, let's just look at the screaming part of a tantrum. You know, kids scream, but scream, scream, scream. They have to breathe, right? You can't just scream continuously. You have to take air. So when they're breathing in, they're not screaming. So they're inhaling. So as soon as there was as soon as I could see that he was not screaming because he was behaving, I tagged and gave him an edible. And wouldn't you know it, pretty soon he was a lot quieter. Another common tantrum behavior is arms flailing about. Well, at some point, if your arm is up, it's probably going to go down. So anytime the arm went down, anytime it was on the way down, I marked the behavior with the tagger and handed over another little edible. Well, and I kept doing that. Within 12 minutes, he went from screaming, running, and flailing to sitting on the couch like this.
Because that's so incredible.
Yes, I had captured tiny split seconds of calm, non-tantrum behavior that were interspersed among all the tantruming behavior. And that's what you can do with this device because it's so quick. You can capture those little moments and then you reinforce them. And again, you've reinforced them right on time because you're tagging while the child is doing it. Child gets a little edible, realizes, hey, I just did something and I got a candy. Maybe I should try it again. And so that's the capturing part. And then the shaping is, I captured quiet mouth, I captured arms down, and pretty soon he was calm because I was reinforcing those split seconds of calm behavior. And in 12 minutes, that tantrum. And, I had tantrums with him literally that would go for 6 hours straight. So.
Yeah, I think it's important to point that out. So often when we're talking about the autism spectrum, we have such a large variance of symptoms, right? Yeah. We have some that are so mild that they can go undiagnosed for most of the person's life. And then you have some symptoms that are so severe that in your case, you're being up at all hours because there's not a restful moment. And so, when we're talking about these things, be mindful that while something might work really well for one person, it might not for another. And of course, that's always going to be the case. But don't be dismissive because if you have a child that really does need to have some type of enforcement, something good that can come in a moment of chaos, that's something that should be explored and thought about because the child doesn't want to continue to get in trouble. So if you can find those little, and as you put it, those split seconds, those little micro moments that you can say, that was good. That was good.
That was,
all of us do better.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I was just going to say, if you say to a child when he or she has done something good, if you say that was good, you're too late.
Yeah.
Okay, because your words can never coincide with that actual behavior, whatever it was. So this is that key part that puts it all together in the child's mind too. So I'm sorry, I interrupted.
No, you're good. There's so many tools that are out there. And as a parent that is searching for the tool that's going to help their child be their best, we have to look into all of these different paths. And this makes sense to me. This is something that resonates for, I know, a lot of families and a lot of viewers right now. And I'm hoping that if you're a professional, that you might continue to let people know that these options exist too, because like I said, all of these kids are unique. All of them have different varying symptoms. And what more beautiful way than to try to help somebody be their best by finding those moments of good behavior and praising it. I think we all want to do that. This is just a more sophisticated or a different alley in doing that. So if somebody wants to learn more about this, how would they get in contact with you? What's the best place for them to start studying up?
Okay, well, there are two websites. There's TAGteach International, which you have up on your screen, or you have the name of the company, but TAGteach International has an array of materials. And then I wrote a book about this, and I have my own website, kind of sponsored by TAGteach, and it is called Autism, Chaos to Calm. And that is the title of my book, which I have right here. Autism, Chaos to Calm. Let's see. Here we go. Oops.
There you are. Fantastic.
It describes exactly how I do that. And on the Autism, Chaos to Calm website, there's many, many resources, dozens of free articles, free downloads, free video series, 2 free ebooks that describe all of this. My goal and the goal of TAGteach is to get this technology into the world because it is so life-changing. So many, many free resources. Anybody can easily educate himself or herself specifically on TAGteach for autism or TAGteach in other settings. And I'd also like to point out that we have extensive research completed on TAGteach as to its efficacy. We have a TAGteach reference list with over 140 publications, research articles, posters, etc., 30 of which are specifically on TAGteach for autism, proving its efficacy. So one good example. Yeah. So that's our goal.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Martha. Thank you for sharing your story and sharing a little bit more insight with our community. I'm grateful for your time today. And for all of the viewers watching, thank you again for joining us as we continue to explore the possibilities.